Okay. So, Millvina, obviously you were only a matter of months old
9 weeks old,
when you were on the Titanic.
with my mother, my father, and my older brother. But I say older, he was only a year and 9 weeks older. Or a year and 9 months, something.
So, tell me why you were on the Titanic in the first place.
Well, because my father heard from a relation who we didn't know in America, saying there's much more opportunity over there to make money than England. And so I presumably he talked it over with my mother and decided to go. I think she was very brave. This is 1912. And I was just 9 weeks old and my brother was under 2. So I think she was awfully brave to go that far away in those days and leave your home and all your friends and go. I think she was very brave. Anyhow, we were going to a place we've got relations in Kansas City, and we had a house there waiting for us, so that's where we were going. And my father was going to open a tobacconist shop there. But of course, that was it. We never got there.
I read somewhere that you weren't even supposed to be on that ship.
No, we weren't. We were supposed to be on an American one, I believe it was, called the Philadelphia. But I'm not sure, don't quote me, I'm not sure about the Philadelphia. But we were supposed to be on that. But there was a coal strike, and all the coal had to go on the Titanic. So all the other ships, of course, couldn't sail. Because, the Titanic being then the most wonderful ship in the world, of course it had to have all the coal. And the captain or somebody asked my father if he would like to go on the Titanic, and of course thought it was wonderful. Delighted, yes. Mind you, we were third class or steerage because my father presumably had saved all the money for the house and the tobacconist shop he was hoping to have.
What did your parents do, or what did your father do? What was his job back in England?
He had a public house in London. And don't ask me what part of London, because I remember I've been told once or twice, but I can't remember. Anyhow, because in the first place, he met my mother in London. My mother was from Hampshire. My father was from Devonshire. And they met and married, of course. And then, as I say, they had a public house. Well, my father then worked in a public house. And my mother went to London as a children's nurse. She was one of 13. And she was the eldest. So I bet she was darn glad to leave all, because she had all the children to look after at the time. And then they saved money and decided to go to America. So that's how it happened. They were in the cabin, of course, and there was a crash, and my father said to my mother, I'll go up on deck and see what had happened. Came back and said apparently the ship had struck an iceberg, get the children out of bed and up on deck as quick as possible. And I'm convinced that's what saved us, because ever so many of the third class passengers, they weren't saved. And what saved us was people thinking, oh, the ship's unsinkable, she's not going to go down. So they didn't bother. But my father, very quick on the uptake, immediately had us up on deck and got my mother into a lifeboat, and no, not my brother at that time, and me, I went into a sack because I was too small, so I was put in my mother, and then she found she had me, not my brother. But of course she couldn't do a thing about it because she had to keep me warm, bitterly cold night and in the open air. But when we arrived, and the Carpathia picked us up, there he was. He had been looked after by one of the other passengers.
So he'd been just on. Was he on another boat, another lifeboat?
I don't know whether I've no idea. I think it might have been the same one, but it was quite big, and I don't remember. I looked around much anyhow. Well, as I said, my mother had as much as she could do looking after me.
So did she ever, as you got older, you said that she didn't talk about it much. I mean, she didn't tell you anything else, did she?
Well, all I knew was that she went, when they arrived in Queenstown, Ireland, she sent a card home to her mother to say everything is fine up to now, which sounds really ominous. Up to now, doesn't it? When you think you don't normally say if you're going away anywhere, everything's fine up to now. You just say everything's lovely or everything's fine. So whether she, I don't know, whether it's something in her mind, I don't know at all. But that's what she said. My mother died in 1975. And then at that time the Titanic wasn't even mentioned because they didn't find the wreck until 1885 or something.
1985.
1985. So we never spoke at all about the Titanic. We just went on, having our friends in and just going on as you would normally.
Did you ever, in the time that you weren't certainly you didn't talk to your mother about it, did you do any research yourself?
Oh no, I didn't. Nothing at all happened until it was found. And then, to be quite interested, I thought, oh, they found it. I felt quite emotional at first because I wondered what had happened to my father. And then you see, everybody started to want me to go here and to go there. But it wasn't until they did the film that everybody then went over the top. They were phoning me all day long, wanting interviews here, wanting me to go here, there, everywhere. It was terrific. And I got tired of it. I was saying, oh, wretched old Titanic. I must admit then, because it was rather getting on my nerves, all of it. So much, so many people. But then I got used to it and enjoyed it.
But did you understand, you obviously must have thought, actually, I was one of the people that survived this historic event. How do you feel about the fact that you are the last person that escaped the boat?
To be honest, I never think about it. Though I didn't know my father. I wondered if he jumped overboard or if he went down with the ship and all that kind of thing. It was quite horrible, really, thinking, when you think of going down the sea, you always think of sharks. And I thought of him being with sharks sort of thing, quite horrible.